Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Again, my name is Rob. Interesting topic for us today as we're going to talk about how to win that first date. Interesting topic for us because we're going to talk about how to win the first date. And as much as this is something for the heart, it's more also how to really work our brain. And interesting because our brain has developed for many years. It remembers and it adapts. And as well as the brain particularly works that way, it also has shortcuts for us to make decisions faster. And these are called biases. And I would just like to pin 3 biases that we would love, to learn for today. 3 mental shortcuts that I'm talking about is first reciprocity. Okay, the ability to give back something in return. And when we are provided with something good, naturally people provides that in returns. This is why car dealerships and credit card companies offer something in free, and when they offer something free in good gesture, the person receiving that something good naturally provides something good in return, which is just a listening ear or maybe some time to visit their shops. So another mental shortcut that I want to talk about today would be the contrast effect. That wow factor. This is heightening the change wherein the brain really says wow. So we're going to talk about that some more later on. Or the last thing that I want you guys to learn today is the liking bias. Okay, everyone wants to be liked, and this is the most powerful bias for me because it's instant, and it emits the natural happy hormones, which is the endorphins, which you can really use throughout the first date. So let's get to how we're going to be able to prepare for the date. And what I usually like to do is to break these events into smaller pieces. Okay, so a date is comprised of course before you meet, while you're in the date, and what happens after. Before we go and get into the date, so this is the pre-date, we want to be prepared. And this is something that needs to happen 100% of the time. For us to really get that wow factor, we have to be prepared. So there are just several things that you might want to address before getting into that date. All right, improve your research skills. Okay, let's call it stalking. Learn more about the person that you're going to meet, that you're going to talk to, because you are looking for a potential long-lasting relationship, and you want it to be great, you want it to be perfect. Be keen on the things that they post on social media, be keen on the things that they dislike, and you can put it on notes to avoid or talk about more of the things that they like or dislike. So improve your preparatory skills by researching. Look at the weather forecast, look at the traffic situation. Is it heavy, is it moderate on the day that you guys are going to pick on the date? Look at the restaurant, what are the specialties in that particular establishment, and while looking at their profile, maybe look at also some of their favorites. Maybe they love some coffee, they love sweets, or they just prefer to eating salad, because you're seeing their profile, they're very active on social media and they prefer to exercise. So be sensitive to those things and put just a note on it, so that it would be able to make you comfortable having this knowledge stored about the person you're going to be on a date on. So another one, of course, is your appearance. You have to prepare for how you look, of course, and this is where the contrast effect would come in. If this particular person naturally sees you on jeans, on flip-flops, or on a shirt, maybe this is the right time, or this is the great time for us to use the contrast effect, for us to wow them, make them see the difference of how well you're going to prepare for it, because it says a lot about a person when they prepare enough for a particular event. It makes them feel important, it shows respect, and it really shows that you are interested in getting this person to like you. And since we talked about reciprocity, this is something provided back in return to you throughout the day. Okay, so for the men, let's do some things that we're not usually able to do. If this person is really special, prepare extra for it. Maybe prepare to buy or look for that cologne. If we don't have one, buy a new shirt. Or if you don't want to buy a new shirt, and if you want to bootstrap this date, at least iron your shirt. Nothing says anything more than a guy who has a well-pressed shirt. Prepare well for this particular date. Wear something new. Maybe have a haircut. Style it in a way that you don't normally do, so that when you get to that moment, and she sees you for the first time, he or she sees you for the first time, it will be like, hey, your goal is to make them say, hey, you look great, or I've never seen you in that in that mode or in that dress before. This is something that makes the brain lit up. It injects again our happy hormones, and it piques an interest to the person, and makes them feel special that you've prepared for them. So we've talked about preparedness. We've talked about something that we might want to do even before we get to the date, right? So when we get into that particular moment, and when we're already into the date, there are a couple of rapport building skills that I want to highlight. So we know that we want to make them laugh, okay? We know that we want to be light. We want them to laugh because laughter is the most powerful emotion, and it acts as a pin to particular events. And when I say that, people remember more of that particular event when they're happy. When you're in a date, or when you're in that particular moment wherein you're sharing ideas, I would love for us to be more open and to be more keen on your airtime. So how much time are you the one talking instead of the person you're involved with? So this particular rapport building skill is called 50-50. Other books says 60-40, but I do believe in half, since I do believe in reciprocity. And when I say 50-50, allow the person to be able to open up. Listen to the details that that they would share, because you will not learn anything if you're the one talking. Talk about something about themselves, because this is a particular topic that everyone is confident about. All right, it's the mastery of themselves. Make the conversation hide in reciprocity, and allow them to open up. Have similar airtime. Of course, you don't want to bore them, and make sure to be keen and follow up onto the topics that they really love. Another rapport building skill that I'd love for us to learn is acknowledging. Okay, mirroring and probing. So while we're into that conversation, we will have a split of ideas. We will have ideas that they will not agree on. Learn how to acknowledge the things that you guys are not going to agree on, because even if you don't agree, at least tell them that you're listening and that you respect them. So simple acknowledgement statements would be really helpful to learn before going to the date. As simple as, I hear you, I see what you're saying, I also can see why you're disagreeing with that. It's a very good skill to be able to listen and to be sensitive to their ideas, and acknowledging that you guys have differences. But at the same time, it would really tell them that you respect them and that you are listening to the details about the conversation. This also would prevent awkward silences if you don't know how to respond to an idea that they object on, and it opens up a whole new angle to the conversation. So I hear you, I see what you're saying, I understand where you're coming from, or I see why you disagree with that. And on to our next topic, and this is the last part. We are going to talk about what happens after the date. And let's assume that this is someone that you really like, that you really had a common ground with, that you really had a laughter with, and had a very good time while into that date. And you can tell that they're also interested in you. The skill to learn every after this moment is to book the next date. Let's have that habit of asking, so when are we going to see each other again? You know what? This was a great time, or I had a great time. When can I see you again? Or when can I call again? Having the habit of, trying to go for the next date, or trying to see when you guys can look up again, tells a lot in terms of how interested you are. And like, again, reciprocity, they tend to give that back. Alright, so there you have it. Those are some of the things that can help you out win your first date. I hope you've learned something. Again, this is Rob. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.